I'm Sam Zagar, your projector guide and host, and this is a new narrative. We're hopping into season 5. We're going to be exploring the bridge between the mundane and the mystical. It is time to stop replaying those old scripts and write a new narrative. I'm glad you're here. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to a new narrative. I can't believe I'm doing season 5 already. Although Jen can, because this is the third time that we've probably recorded episode 1, because life be like that. I don't know what your guys' fall was like, but mine was maybe not something I want to record. It's something that I wanted to let go of. And I would say that I'm in a super different place now, but I've been following along with Jen's stuff, and her growth has been amazing. There have been some developments on the topic that we're talking about. The third time we're going to talk about it. It's just going to be the best conversation yet. So let's kick off season 5 with it. Hi, Jen. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me. I feel like it's a third line thing.
It's got to be a third line thing. You know what? I can't believe I don't even know what the transit is for the day. How professional am I? Geez.
All I know is the collective energy has been wild.
Yeah, I do know Channel of Community has been our nodes for a while, and support is on big. Okay, it's a third line day. You know it is. Welcome, guys. Welcome back to me. Okay, so we have a full emotional tribal stream on today. We've got Channel of Synthesis and Channel of Community. And then just for extra shits and giggles, Channel of Recognition is on. So today feels like a good day for storytelling.
Mm.
Interesting. All right. So, Jen, I want to just get straight to it. You do animal communication, and you do animal communication in partnership with human design. When I met you and we started working together, you were mostly doing human design, but if anything, it was more in combination with like trauma work, and in particular, trauma work for women, and specifically with narcissistic
Mm.
families. And you came into human design, and I think it pulled you out of that a little bit. Then you were maybe more core human design, and then the animal thing shifted. Now, your profile, okay, so 2-4. You're 2-4 with a shores environment. So you're a hermit, you want to disappear, you want to go to your own place, but your own place is also your shores environment. So this inaccessible place. You have a history of quite a bit of trauma yourself, which makes you pretty keen to get away from a lot of things, or at least that's how you ended up on your property. But that property became a safe haven, let's say, not just for you, but for how many animals now?
We're at 51.
Jeez. And the numbers will go up, I promise. Okay,
Still
so
holding out for a baby donkey and like little mini cows. Yeah,
introduce us to some of the farm then. What is the variety of animals we got?
we have donkeys, horses, goats, peacocks, bunnies, ducks. I don't have any more chickens though. We went away with chickens. Parrots, cats, dogs. Is that everybody? Oh, and like about 20 wild deer we feed every day. We've been doing that for like 5 or 6 years.
Something tells me you got a raccoon.
Oh yeah. A
Or a
family
family.
of 5, yes, a family. And usually we have a skunk family too, but not this year. So we'll see next year.
And I'm sure you feed the birds something as well.
Oh yes, of course.
Of course. So you run this safe haven, but you're not like a nonprofit or a sanctuary or anything like that. This is all personal investment.
Yes.
So it's at the cost of your energy,
Yes. A lot.
which is a good time to tell people Jen is a 2-4 pure manifesting generator. But she only has the sacral motor. Y'all should not think that just because people are generators that they're going hard all the time. She's only got one motor. I've got a motor too. Hers just regenerates. So
I've definitely been noticing these spurts of energy where I get it. I'm like, yes, go, go, go. And then when I use that energy for what I responded to, then it's like, phew. It's like, okay, now I got to go chill for a little bit.
do you nap?
No,
I'm still so intrigued with Raw's theory that the perfect generator doesn't have a bedtime. They have like a nap time.
My husband is a 6'2" MG, and he has to nap every day. And he has a defined root, sacral, and spleen.
Damn.
Yeah. But he's like the slowest MG ever, like never in a hurry for anything. So I, of course, pick up on his. And I'm like, oh, I see this. This needs to be done. Oh, that needs to be done. He's like, how come you only do this when I'm around? I was like, probably because I'm picking up on
Amplifying
your
root
stuff.
pressure. What do
Yes.
you
And
mean?
seeing all these things that need to be done. But yeah.
Yep, I feel that's too with my son. He's got a defined route. And it's like you would think, I would think that if you had a defined route, you'd be like a rocket, like, whoa, we got so much extra. But really, they're like, chugga, 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 chugga. And I'm like, come on, can't we speed this train up? But
Yes.
that's my not self for sure.
Same.
Okay, so let's talk about the donkeys. The donkeys they seem to be the most significant members of the herd in terms of the animal communication work. Is this true?
Yes. Very much so. Basically, I was stopped in my tracks one day when I was out hanging with the herd, and Annie, I guess you could say she's the queen of our herd, she came up to me and she said, donkeys are magical too. How come nobody talks about us?
Oh,
So I was like, that is so true. She was like, we're so misunderstood, and all people talk about are how great horses are. What about donkeys? So I was like, this is very true. So it just made me start. It's like I knew, right? I experience them every day. And so where I've started shifting to kind of like get people to look at they're just as they carry as much wisdom and medicine, just like horses do, and just how often they're overlooked and misunderstood. And when we just kind of spend some time to sit with them, you realize just how intuitive they are as well. And just, I don't know, I think donkeys really speak to people because they are so misunderstood and overlooked that it makes other people kind of see themselves through the donkeys and are like, huh, like we all carry intuitive gifts and abilities and magic and wisdom. And to kind of have that animal that most people overlook or don't pay attention to, or just like, oh, they're stubborn when it's the furthest thing.
it's curious to me that equines are prey animals,
Mhm.
but donkeys are often purchased, gotten, whatever, for the protection of a herd. They are
Mhm.
companionship animals. They're the alarm. They alert you to what's going on. So they still fit into the prey category, right? But are they slightly more dominant or more protective or more vocal? What gives them this edge?
I see it more as where horses spook when something they're not prepared for. Donkeys are more stoic. They kind of sit and watch before they react. As far as protecting the herd, it depends. We've had some donkeys will be very protective of a herd, and some can be very aggressive towards a herd. So I think it's just a lot of people thinking, okay, well, they're only as guardians over like sheep or goats, and then they just kind of leave them out to pasture and then don't interact with them, don't mess with them. And then they're like, well, I need to get their feet done or I need to do this with them. And they don't want to come near the person. They're just like, oh, they're just being a stubborn donkey. Um, but really, it's so much more than that.
So when you say like the donkey's out to pasture and someone's not engaging with them, so what is the difference between engaging with them, interfering with them, bothering them, working them? So like one of the things that I consider is like when I'm going to go spend time with my girl, I'm going to lunge her, groom her, do groundwork, hug her, like play with her. Like there's a variety of things that I'm going to do. But I am always wondering at what point she's having fun and she wants this. She wants this leadership. She wants this engagement. She wants the stimulation versus at what point is she like, all right, this is a chore, So what signs or like, I don't know, you got anything for what I'm saying?
Yeah. One, I would say ask them.
So if you're a newbie trying to ask your animal, do you want to work with me today? What kind of signs are we looking for?
Body language. Usually I'll stand to the side and wait to see if they even acknowledge me, which is totally opposite than what I used to do. I used to like first go to them. Now it's like really sitting, taking that moment, checking my energy first, watching them. Do they even, is there a flick of the ear? Is there like just turning their head and looking my direction? Or are they turning around and facing away from me? Usually that's my sign of like, okay, they don't want to engage. But it's hard, I guess, with me having so many because I have 5 donkeys and 5 horses, and I've spent so much time with them that they've never really told me no because they're
I have
so
so
safe with
many
me.
spin-off
Yes.
questions from
Yeah.
everything. So, bringing human design back into this, we know that with humans, the majority of the population will be sacrally defined, but with mammals, the majority of the population will be reflectors. So we've
Hmm.
already shifted into animals are going to be mirrors more often than humans are. Humans are rarely good mirrors. Animals are almost always good mirrors. So knowing what kind of animal you're engaging with and knowing what kind of person you are can maybe fill in some of the gaps of like how to interpret the conversation. Like perhaps if you're dealing with a reflector animal, you may need to approach this animal a variety of different times over a longer period of time to have a genuine reaction or understanding or response from them. Whereas if you meet a sacral animal for the first time, it's likely going to have its response to you or not. But if we're dealing with predominantly reflectors, then whatever you bring to the conversation is likely going to be mirrored back to you. I'm someone who really loves consent based work, but I hope this comes out all right. Yes, I want a man to have consent to touch me. But if a man asks permission every time he kisses me, that's not very arousing. That's not a huge turn on, right? If they have to ask every time, it's going to start to annoy me. It might even put me off and get kind of weird and creepy at some point. So if I only ever approach my horse Esmeralda, who I have a new relationship with, if I only ever approach her with this like tentative, like, are you okay with this? She's gonna be like, you fucking weirdo, go away, like gain some confidence. I don't trust you, you don't trust you, you know? Whereas if I just walk up to her and I don't touch her, but I like walk right there, she's more like, who are you? You just came. What's up? You know, like she mirrors a level of my confidence in my engagement. So
Mm,
there is the possibility that it may seem like the animal is having a no for you when really you're having a no for yourself that you're broadcasting out loud.
mm. I think also for me is I would assign if an animal didn't want to interact with me, of not taking that personally as well, and knowing that, okay, what is the message behind this, or what are they trying to show me right now? And with the animal being the mirror, I really feel like it's also the safest mirror because they only come with love and compassion. There's no judgment, there's no guilt, there's no resentment, it's just pure kind of love. So it's kind of like checking your own, what are you bringing into the space, but you also have to have some confidence because especially with donkeys, and if like we started with 2 feral donkeys, I mean, I couldn't get near them for 8 months. So I had to get to the point of just sitting with them for hours on end and not even like attempting to do anything with them, just for them to get used to my energy and me as well, gaining confidence of being in there, right? And not taking it as something like, um, or get it. Well, of course, I got frustrated at times because I was just like, oh my God, I just want them to love me. Like, don't they know this is a good home? I'm here to take care of you. But it was also my own insecurities of one, not having any equine experience, afraid I was going to do something wrong to cause harm. And I really feel like for them, it was like taking this time for me to get used to my own energy, being with them, and being okay with just sitting there and not doing anything and not expecting anything, just sit with them and let them get used to you. And of course, over time, it grew and got more and more to where now, of course, several years, well, this is like 9 years later, they'll lay in my lap. So I think it's when I go out to them now, they all come like, oh, yes, like we're getting attention. Like we know who you are now. We trust you now. But it was like 8 months, 5 to 6 hours every day I spent just sitting with them, singing to them, looking at reading to them, just simple everyday things.
Okay, I had questions, but now I got a different one.
Okay.
Singing and reading. Is there I have a thing with this, but I'm like, is there a specific reason you did that?
I think just to calm my own nervous system.
To make your voice sound more regulated or
Well,
consistent or like
I mean, my voice is horrible. Like, it's not nothing that's like you would think, like someone singing over the rainbow. It's like, oh, like an opera singer or something. It was horrible. But for me, yeah, I think it was just not being so scared, regulating my own nervous system, just kind of bringing my own energy kind of down. Also, they're not going to say, oh God, your voice is horrible. Like, I'm not worried about what I sound like to them because they don't care.
okay, so I noticed one time I was with a horse that was um known to be very, very anxious. And so when they're in like their high whatever state, like you don't even have to touch them for their muscles to twitch near the area, right? When they're in that level, that will make me come to a certain level because I know that we're nearing explosive danger, big beast in small stall or whatever area with me. I could get hurt if you spook and you're in a
Mhm.
high spooky state. So I'm well aware that if I escalate, they're escalating. Now they're escalating already. So I'm like, oh, one of us is going to have to slow this train down. And so if everything is silent, a touch can be very disruptive. And I remember being taught in hairdressing school that, like, when you're giving a scalp massage, you never take both hands off. It's like you take one hand off as soon as you apply the other one. So you don't actually break the contact at any point because the breaking and the re coming back is the alert portion.
Mm.
And so I felt like touching or using my voice like spontaneously was too many different stimulations. I needed something to weave it all together. And I just naturally started being like, mm, and like just having to do that, you recognize like you'll be like in the beginning, it's like, whoa, I'm clearly like not comfortable either. And so having to do that to get myself to the point of like, like just some type of like, kind of thing. And then I notice like it does consistently come down. So if I'm in a high stress state, I will revert to some type of like smooth singing. It, like you said, it doesn't, it's not that it sounds good. It's that there's like a monotone that starts to regulate.
Yeah. Do you notice with my donkeys when you do something to the left, I also have to go to the right and do the same thing because it's almost like a completely different, like if you're only working on one side and they're getting comfortable with that side. And then when you go to the other, it's almost like a whole new experience.
That is what we're taught in all of the horse training stuff. So whether you're
Mm.
riding or whether you're training, like doing groundwork or halter breaking or whatever, but everything that is experienced on one side has to be duplicated on the other because for the equine brain, like there actually is a split from left to right and a timing process. So once you're done on one side, it's like you pause, you wait for the like lick and chew, the like, oh, they're back in their body and something
Mhm.
is happening, and then you go to the other side and you do it again because if you don't, they literally don't learn it. It's not a transferable thing to them. They have separate sides, so you can teach separate things to separate sides.
Yeah, I don't have, I've never even ridden a horse ever.
I think one of the directions that some of my work is expanding into is the pre-riding with people because this has been, I mean, as the 3-6, like I tend to role model my own thing and then do it for others, guide them through it. But the horse thing for me was a journey back to a level of self confidence. I had my confidence be very broken by someone very close to me who told me I didn't know how to read a room. And as a projector who makes a job of reading people, that was the greatest way to crash everything about me. And I believed that animals would hurt me. I believed that they would attack me. Like I went very prey animal myself. I
Mhm.
suddenly felt under threat by everything. And I know in my heart that as a child, I did not have that fear around horses. In fact, I was very brave around them and really wonderful things happen. And I have so many cute photos of me, like that is my profile picture on the All Good Grains account. It's me in my like, I look like Dora the Explorer fell asleep on the back of a horse. And I want that safety, that connection, that bond, that whatever. And so I started working with Angela, Equine Elevation, who we have in common, who I'm excited to talk about. And I started working with her herd and just being comfortable in their presence. But like, what a growth to go from doing that last spring to now I'm at the point, well, eventually we'll get to where I'm at, but it's so different. And I have been very excited to be able to help other people transition through something I transitioned through. What all of this confidence has done for my finances, for my home, for my parenting relationship, for my romantic relationships, like it is very possible to go from one of the darkest days of your life to one of the brightest days of your life very quickly. And I'll start to get a little bit emotional. I want to go back to a question that I had for you before you got me with the singing and reading one. I want to talk about the reasons why an animal might have a no. Because if you said that the donkeys were kind of rejecting you for like the first 8 months that you had them, that was like they didn't know you. They didn't trust you.
Mhm.
They didn't know your energy. They're getting used to you. So why else might they say no to something?
Sometimes it's just something they don't want to do or don't like. They're like, just because you think this is, I'm trying to think of an example. Well, it wouldn't be with my donkey, it would be with my dog, Rosie, um, who just likes to take off into the woods. And it was something simple. I was like, why can't you just like stay hanging around me when we go walking in the woods? And she's just like, I'm a beagle mix. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like trying to force the simplest thing of like, being a beagle. She is going, her nose is everything to her. And she's going to follow whatever scent. And that is what is already ingrained in her. That's what she's supposed to be doing. And sometimes we try to force our dogs to do certain things like walking on a leash or, not interacting with other dogs when they're coming the opposite direction. And here we are trying to force this animal to do everything that is outside of what they're designed to do. Does this make sense?
Totally. Yeah. And when you were like, well, she's a beagle, what I really heard there is like, she's not a dog. She's this kind of dog. And when you
Mm.
understand that about her, you're going to understand her behavior. And like you and I aren't just humans who should or shouldn't do certain things. We're a projector and a manifesting generator who do things very differently because of the breed that we are.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just like everyone is so unique, so are animals. There's going to be things that they like and don't like. There's going to be things that they have the energy for or don't have the energy for. And it's just like us, like we don't like to be forced to do things that we maybe not be interested in. I mean, they might be bored. I've had that before. Like, I'm bored of this food you're giving me. Give me something else. Like forceful sometimes to the point where my peacock like saying like I'm sick of blackberries or I'm sick of blueberries. Bring me some blackberries. And that was like the first time I heard something in my head and I was like, okay, I couldn't have made that up. And it was in a British accent. So obviously something and it's a peacock, right? It was like this is too much. But it's like remembering that sometimes when these things drop in, we might write it off as like, oh, that's stupid, or I don't know how I made that up, or where did that come from, and kind of completely forget about it, move on to something else, when that could have been like one message that you were finally hearing and getting through, but we're so conditioned to kind of just write these things off as stupid or, or that's dumb. Like, nope, animals don't talk. But to me, I have full conversations all day long almost with them.
They definitely talk.
So much.
And clearly they have some personalities too.
Oh, very.
Okay, so the peacock is British. Do
Hmm.
we have any other like notorious personalities on the farm?
We have one that's kind of like a Sherlock Holmes, one of my horses is. It's like very like top hat, like
Proper detective.
very, very.
That's totally horse energy. Like, what are you doing? They're very
Yeah.
sus, you know?
And then like learning Sage, one of my mini mares, she came, I've been trying so hard to build this connection with her, like I have with all my others. And I finally like checked myself, sat with her, and she was like, you don't like to be touched either by people. So why are you trying to force touching me? She was like, touch is not my love language, just like it's not yours, which is so true with people. It's not. I do not like to be touched by people. I've been married for 20 years with my husband and I still don't like it. But an animal, it's completely different.
Your cognition is one of my questions here. So not that cognition is a love language per se, but I kind of think it is, right? Like if you're speaking my love language, you're speaking with my mouth. You're
Mm,
having a conversation with my mouth somehow. Whereas for you, I have to have a literal, well, it's a different conversation with your mouth, actually. Fuck taste and feelings. Okay, guys, here's a little bit more human design education. I'm a 2 cognition, she's a 5. Both of them are going to be mouth connected, but mine is about breathing in the air and being able to like sample the splenic bacteria through my bloodstream. Okay, right. So hers is more like sound comes out of her, and sound carries frequency and truth and mutation. And that's what she's resonating to or not. She's sussing out the vibes ultimately and
mm,
seeing if they're on or off. And on really means accurate and truthful, off means hiding and distorting something.
very.
Yeah. Okay, so you have an ability to know when something is off in the frequency, which is one of the first ways I'm thinking you're going to pick things up from animals. Like, there's a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah, that's funny because I've had that happen quite a few times where I notice something is off with them and where it might be something so simple, like a twitch in the jaw, or like I notice foods like being dropped out of their mouth. And I've had like the vet come out and like, I just know something is off with them. Maybe they're hanging their head lower than they normally do. I can just like tell when they're perkier or when something's going on. And, of course, this was before animal communication. I'd always call the vet out. And I don't know how many times the vet would come, like, do all these things. They're like, we don't see what you're seeing. But I knew something was going on. And then usually, like, when it would get worse, we'd call them back out and they're like, oh, like, how did you see that? I'm like, is this my feelings cognition? I'm sure it had a lot to do with it. And also just how much time I spend with them. You get to know your animals so well. You know your animals more than a vet does, than anybody else that comes into them. So when you've got that feeling like something's off, you're probably right.
Okay, I'm not arguing, but counterpoint here. Do you ever find that it's the hardest to read some of your own animals because of the personal bias or the closeness?
I hear this a lot. I don't experience that though. So this is something that's like really hard because like I was thinking of creating a animal communications course with your own animals, but you do hear this all the time that it's so much harder to connect with your own. Um, but that's kind of like where I started was with mine. So it's kind of hard for me to differentiate, I guess. I will say I have to check my own, make sure I'm not projecting and coming up with things just because I know my animal so well, or creating things that isn't really an issue.
Okay, so example, my personal example of this, you can help me maybe, is I've got Cypress. He's a husky. He's about to turn 14 in 3 days. From the time he was a puppy. We flew him here when he was 8 weeks old. I got him from the airport. He came out of the kennel and sat on my lap in the truck, and we were imprint bonded from there forward. He followed me everywhere as a baby, and he never had to be trained to be let out. Like he came a level of trained, but that level of training wasn't like a scratch or a bark or a click this or anything. I just knew when he needed to go out, and we never once had a problem. Like I could be doing anything and I'd be like, oh, Cypress needs to go out. And I never even registered that it was so mental until somebody had to babysit him and they asked me, how will I know when he wants to go out? And I was like, what do you mean, how will you know? Like, can't you just tell? And that was like, what? And then I realized something was different about our relationship. I never trained him to communicate he needed out in any way. I just knew.
Mhm.
Now, I would think that I would have a very good mental communication with him. But over the years that we've been together, our relationship has changed a lot. He no longer lives on a farm with a variety of other like animals and kids and things. He's a generator. He is significantly less stimulated in his day to day life. I would venture to say that he's been kind of more or less depressed for like the last 7 years. And so, what is accurate is that my dog does not have a response to me.
Mm.
And I'm not a generator, and I have no response, period. And I have no response to him. And he does not have purpose in my life right now like he used to. And we have almost no need of each other than existence. And because he's old and he has developed he has two cysts on his front paws or front legs or whatever. My goal is just always to provide him with comfort. I give him all the food he wants. He eats as much as he wants. He's gained weight like he never has in a very happy way. He smiles. He's got a puppy. Well, whatever. He's got an annoying corgi he has to play with. Um, his life doesn't seem bad. He doesn't seem like he's not sick or bombed or unhealthy or anything like that. I just think he doesn't really care for me that much, and we're just not that connected.
Maybe he just doesn't have a response to the environment that he's in, and it's not you.
I don't think anybody has a response to the environment I'm in. I think the place that I live in is toxic. I think this is not the place for me. And I think that I'm going to consistently experience multiple pushes until I finally get out of here. But I've been waiting for, like, I'm not going to put in the initiation to do this. It's going to work in a way where it's going to work. And there are certain developments happening in my life right now that are just a little too directional and amazing and fast and synchronistic for me to not believe that it's only going to continue this way.
And he's probably mirroring how you feel in your current environment as well.
Hilariously, I hope you pity me for what I'm about to say, but my ex-husband moved into the same neighborhood. We are in the same park. We're in the same community. He's down the street from me.
Oh no.
This is not what I want. This is not what I want. Nothing says get the hell out of here. Like, ew, ew. So, I mean, everyone's reaction is like, oh, how wonderful for your son. Yes, it is wonderful that my son can walk to his father's house. You know what else is wonderful? I bought that husky for my ex husband. It was his dream dog. And when we
Mm.
got divorced, which one of us is actually responsible? Me. I've had Cypress every single day since that divorce. And he's had so many excuses as why he doesn't participate in that dog's life. But since my son and his father are in the neighborhood now, I'll just put that dog on a leash and give him to my son. And I say, you take this dog back to your father's house to remind him of the thing that he's abandoned for the last 7 years. So Cypress isn't here most of the time now. Cypress is going to the other house half the time. So at least there's a little bit of
Mm.
variety. But I will say, the first day Cypress got taken over there, he escaped and he came straight home. So that's a nice sign.
Yeah. And it's, oh, we don't really have a connection anymore. Obviously, he knew. He
I
was
know
like,
where my
oh,
mom is.
I'm going back. This isn't greener on the other side.
No, they got a smaller yard. Okay, so of all of your animals, are some of them easier to connect with and are some of them almost impossible to connect with? Like, can you talk to a bunny?
Yes, but they're not as, I don't want to say they're not as deep, but it's definitely more surface level with the bunnies.
Like, hey, we want this food.
Yeah, it's not very like where the rest of them, it's not really about day-to-day things like food and what they like and what they don't, what they dislike. It's really like things that just kind of drop in. I'm like, holy shit. I have like Rosie is probably my most triggering relationship I have with any of my animals. And she shared about how her purpose is the way of patience, and that it's not just like, oh, just be more patient with me. It's like, why does being patient trigger so much in you? It's because you don't have the confidence that you're doing everything right, or that you can't handle like when things aren't going your way. I kind of like flip out a little bit, and she's really like got to the point to where I had to shift like everything I had with her to really just, it's so hard for me to like explain. I feel like I'm having a hard time explaining this.
It's she's teaching you what real empowerment is because you're having to relinquish control and trust her to empower her to like be herself.
Thank you, projector.
Okay, the word patience came up a lot there, which is really interesting because it came up so much for me with Esmeralda. And I called her patience in my mind so many times, but I was like, that's not anybody's name. This is just a joke because I'm a gate five and this is a lesson I have to learn. Patience is my sun sign. But it's the moment like I want to what like throw in the towel. I want to admit defeat at like 80% of the way. Of my masculine insecurity part wants to do that. And she teaches me to hold out for that other 20% to trust and soften. Um, but she's a baby. And so she still has to be learned a lot about um, respect. Like I would not say that she's disrespectful by any means, but something that my trainer, boss, whatever, says is a safe horse is a happy horse. A happy horse gets like a safe horse gets to live a good life. So there are things that we teach the animals. You can't just be like, oh, oh, you don't want to be touched today, like from the point that they're born, right? They become total fucking assholes. Like not every creature is like super good intended and just there like they will take advantage of they do have there are herd dynamics. They have a hierarchy within their own internal social structure. There is a lead mare. So I remind myself like there's consent. There's also lead mare energy. I have to give my horse something to look up to. I have to give her something to follow. She's a prey animal. I'm not a prey animal. So I better take the I've got you assertive leadership role where she trusts me and she follows me because she trusts me. So I'm deeply interested in like liberty work. I love when they follow. You'll see a lot of my content is like, will she follow? Will she choose? Will she do this? But also, you'll see content where, I put her on a halter and I tell her to back up because she's in my personal space. So, or I grab her feet and like she has to be able to be held safely for the farrier to come. Otherwise, girl, we can't get. She told me she wants her nails done. And I'm like, okay, I know that because she told me she's ready to get her nails done, I believe that that means she's ready to behave calmly for the farrier, which I believe means that she has the capability of doing that. I also believe that I'm going to project onto her that she's not going to be able to do that. And I'm going to be nervous holding that lead rope. So I'm going to have to work with her feet more. And we're going to have, she's going to regress and then progress again with my nervous energy working through her feet. But like, there's this toggle of consent and also I'm your mommy and we have things to work on so that you can have a really good life with everybody around you.
Mhm. Especially with queens and king energy. They really are looking to us as having that leadership role.
Okay, since you just said that, segue into one of my other points. How significant is a name? And how frequently are you finding out what a animal's real name is, or what their association to their name is, or if they want it changed, or like what it means, or how significant are names? Because it's Esmeralda's name that can like sealed our relationship.
I have definitely had in some of my sessions where an animal does not like their name, and I've had to tell their owner, you know, this is coming from a nice place, but they really don't like this name. Or the energy of how you say their name can sometimes change the whole thing. If you're coming with like, just like talking to a kid or something, right? If you're just like, Jason, get over here.
Poor kids.
So yeah, I've even had some where they're just like, I don't like how she even says my name. Like she needs to change the energy behind it. But I've definitely had like, I think two, maybe three, where they said, I don't like this name. Or, well, even with Rosie, she has two names because part of one of my dogs that has passed away is in Rosie. I kept calling her Daisy when we first got her. And I was like, she just reminds me of Daisy so much. And then one day we were hanging out and I was like, Daisy, come here. And she ran and like leaped into my arms and like started licking my face. And it was just like, Daisy is Rosie type thing.
Oh,
I just knew that part of maybe her soul has incarnated into Rosie. So now it's like I call her Rosie and Daisy at times. It's almost like two personalities in her.
interesting.
I know this sounds like really wild.
Not for human design stuff, not if you have design and personality, not if you have conscious and unconscious.
Mm, wow. How did I
Rosie,
not make that association before?
yeah, I'm like, Rosie can be the hardware, Daisy can be the software.
Very much so.
Oh, I got some goosebumps.
Wow. Me too.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Esmeralda because this is a fun projector story and the name is very significant here. Um, Esmeralda was called Ash, and Ash has been at the ranch since the first day I went to the ranch back in September. She's been in one of the barns. She has her own stall and her own turnout. She is totally off in her own corner. She's got someone directly across from her, and then this side is full, but down this side it's like tack and hay and stuff. So she's at the end. And then her turnout comes around the back of a barn. So from her back turnout, which is a decent size, she has a hill that would go up to a different upper barn. So she can see a variety of other horses from her stall. She has fresh air, she gets quite a bit of sun, but she doesn't get any direct contact. Part of the reason she was in that stall is because they did not want her to have direct contact with anybody because she got an infection. So she came in as a purchase. The owner purchased her with the intention of colt starting her, training her, and then selling her again. Ash is 4 years old. She's a quarter horse. She's very attractive. She's got a lot of potential, great personality. But when I got to the ranch, the phrase at the ranch was don't touch Ash. Don't touch Ash. Ash has ringworm. So that's highly contagious. So she has to be treated and no contact. So her training stops, her human contact stops, her animal to animal contact stops. And the narrative is don't touch Ash. Okay, so over the next couple of months, my relationship to the ranch in general progresses where I go from riding to the owner posted an ad for needing to hire a barn hand. And Maven was also having a lot of issues with his Tourette's. He was, I believe at this point, we were pulling him out of school and we were playing with homeschool stuff. Whenever he would go for riding lessons at the ranch, those were some of the most relief he would get from his Tourette's. Being in like full present, like he's an MG. He has a absolute yes response for the environment, for the horses, and for the heavy equipment that's in the environment. He loves it out there. His goal was to be there as much as possible. Now, from my perspective as a mom, if I'm out there for lessons, I'm spending every time I go out there. If me and my son both do a lesson, I'm definitely spending every time I go out there, plus the gas, plus the distance, whatever. When they post that there's this barn hand job available, I get an idea. And I think, okay, I could give this to Maven. Maven could take 1 day a week. That would give him responsibility, freedom, autonomy. It would help him make some money. He obviously legally can't do this because he's 11. So I'm going to have to do this, and I'm going to have to take him along for everything. So Maven and I on Mondays, we become the barn cleaners for the ranch. And I do 85% of the work. And he learns work ethic and how to, he does 3 stalls to my 21. But I love it and I feel good. And I'm not burning out. Like for some reason, it's all still working for me and it's working for him. And so then a fascinating thing happens from a human design perspective is that I never said like, hi, I do human design, but they all asked me, what do you do for work? Oh, I do human design. Okay. Well, there were enough chats about it that I'm well aware that no one else there was a projector.
Mm.
It was a lot of generators. It's like all generators. Now, I love the fact that my own business does not require me to work a lot. That's the goal with the projector business, right? Like I can just do sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays and record a couple videos a week and I'm golden. So I am someone who has the ability to take a couple days off a week and go hang out with my horse. I'm also someone who doesn't like to spend, I like to earn.
Mm.
So I don't go to the ranch and spend money to be there. I get paid to be at the ranch now. I love that for me. But also, it's not like I get paid a lot. Like, no one gets paid a lot to pick shit out of a stall or do whatever else that I do there because I do quite a few different things there now. But it turns out I'm not going to get paid at all because I fell in love with a horse who was owned by the owner, who's reasonably affordable because she doesn't have a lot of work put into her yet. And I was like, I think it wasn't even like I want a horse. I'm which one here can I have? It's a, don't touch Ash. Don't touch Ash. Don't touch Ash. And about 2 weeks ago, I started to just notice her differently. 3 weeks ago, probably 3 weeks ago, started to notice her a bit differently. And in particular, I really just noticed her feet. She needs to go to the farrier. They need to be done. One of them is like a slightly different shape than the other ones. And I'm like, I noticed, I'm like, something's off. Something's off. So I'm like, hey, Steph, when can Ash go to the farrier? And she's like, oh, well, that was part of her training. She needs to get her feet safe so that she can be handled. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of keen to do that. I don't know why. And I just kind of like left it. And then the next week, and so at this point, I'm in stalls, let's say an average of 3 days a week. So Ash has gotten used to me going into her stall to clean her stall. There's jokes about cleaning Ash's stall, like she pooped in her mineral tray. And it's like, come on, girl, like, why would you do that? Go poop outside more. But like, she has always been very polite, very like I've never noticed anything bad behavior from her, anything unpleasant, anything negative. I find her curious and a bit standoffish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like both of those things. But I went into her stall 2 weeks ago to clean it. She was in her turnout, and I swear to God, she did a like. And so for all y'all who can't see what I just did, imagine like, someone just got their nails done and they're like, look at my nails, it's like she did a little prance and she put her feet out as if to show me her manicure, but she definitely doesn't have a manicure. She needs one. And I was like, oh, you're showing me like, get my nails done. And I was like, but you need to be, and she's like, no, I'm ready. Like, get my nails done. I want my feet. I want to walk proper. And so I was like, oh, it's time to get her nails done. Okay. And that just kind of got me into all these other questions. I was like, Steph, I think I heard Ash today. I think she was like, sure, sure. I was like, something's happening there. And then the next day I went out and cleaned her stall again. And she just like followed me differently.
Wow.
And
she's like, she heard me. Finally, she heard me.
That's exactly what it was. She was like, you heard me. You heard
Yep.
me. And so everything about the energy the next day when I was with Ash was the way that I had wanted all of my feelings to feel with every horse I had interacted with there, but I didn't put work in. And in that moment, I felt so projector recognized. I was like, oh, I have not had to work for you. I haven't had to do anything other than just be. I had to listen. That's it. And once I listened, I just had to open enough. I've been too I was like, holy fuck, you've been here the whole time and I didn't hear you yet. I'm sorry. But from her, everything about the vibe was, okay, you heard me. We're together,
Like,
make it happen.
yeah, it's time to get to work.
Yeah, like we're together, make it happen. Like we're ours now. And so I've just been calling her my horse ever
Oh.
since. And every person is like, oh, you have a horse? And I was like, well, if I say it enough times, I will. And Steph was like, well, I can pay you for your work or you can work her off. And so once I agreed, I was like, we're gonna be together. I'm so glad I have almost all of our moments recorded because I just put my phone up and hit record. And you can see me, I'm standing there and I'm just like touching her and brushing her, and it's kind of quiet for a second. And then I go, what's your name? This is not your name. What is your name? And I could not forget for the rest of the night. Now, keep in mind, she's been called Ash. This is not your name. This is a curse.
Mm.
So I asked Steph, I said, what is her real name? And her real name is Esmeralda. Her name is fucking Emerald. I knew that her name was regal in some way. Everything about
Mm.
her is not like, she's not beneath me. She's beside me, but I'm still in charge of her. I said to Steph, I was like, all the other horses here feel like I would have to be their parent. Like I have to raise a challenging child. I said, her, I feel like I'm about to get a best friend. She said, that's exactly the difference. Ash is not Ash anymore. Esmeralda.
And how did she start acting when you changed the name?
I also have the video of when I approached her stall the next day after finding out, and she's in her turnout with her ass to her gate. And as I walk up, I go, Esmeralda. And she immediately turns and looks at me, and I'm like, fucking A, I knew it. That's a great name. Because I was like, your name's not Ash. What am I going to name you? And I had no name. I was like, I know it's proper. I know
Mhm.
it's significant. So we call her Ezzy.
So cute.
Mm-hmm. And she's going to be mine. And
I'm
when we're
so
done recording
excited for
this,
you.
I'm going to go hang out with her. I've already done my recordings and everything I need to do for the day because that's my fucking happy place. When I'm done this, I'm going to go brush my girl and hang out with her and cuddle her and hug her and boss her around just enough to make her love me. Yeah.
Your energy has shifted a a ton. In such a good way, though. Not in a bad way, in a good way. And I feel like, I'm not saying it's been like a similar journey, but it's been more of like for me just dropping more into myself, like my core self,
Yeah.
and just expanding my capacity to receive has been a whole other challenge. Realizing how much I was just shutting down and not just sitting and just receiving whatever it is that is meant to come through and trusting it, not questioning it, and just how much that has rippled out into my everyday life.
I know that when we started working together, when you were on Instagram, you used a lot of filters.
Mm.
And it always bugged me so much. Filters bug me across the board. I said to my mom, I was like, Mom, I'm not going to record videos with myself anymore. I'm tired of putting in the effort and showing up a certain kind of way. And she goes, oh, just put a filter on. I was like, Mom, I literally teach self-development work. If you use a filter, all you're saying is like, I'll teach you to be confident, but I'm not. So let's hope this works. And it's like, what does no. Like I don't want to see fake face. I want to see your real face. And I've been seeing your real face for a long time now, but I'm curious to know, do you think your face has changed?
I've heard from, okay, again, the hermit in me, right? And two line, not seeing my own things, but I've heard from other people on Instagram, like somebody said your aura is different. Like you're so much more brighter. Your
Yep.
energy is different when you show up on Instagram. I don't see it, but I know other people are seeing it.
Way
Um,
brighter. Like you don't
yeah.
pause and apologize now for anything.
That is true.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Dude, you're way different. If like watch one of our classes back from a couple years ago.
Oh God.
See, even just your reaction to that, I'm like, you know you've
That's
changed.
scary. That is so scary. Oh my gosh, I was a timid, like little child almost.
Except not. Like, you're not timid when you adopt a herd of equines with no equine experience, right? Like, you just
With feral donkeys right
you
out
were
the
just
gate.
a two, man. You had a hard time seeing and recognizing yourself.
When we were in class and you pointed out I was struggling with finding my network. I was like,
Yep.
why is it people I'm like just struggling with? And you're like, maybe it's your animals. Again, the one thing that I spend 90% of my life around are animals, but I couldn't see that. And then soon as I was like, you know what, maybe it is animals, it was just like a gate just opened
Yeah. It's
to
like,
so much. So I'm just so grateful for that because if I hadn't found human design, I wouldn't have found you. I may have never have gotten into animal communication because human design was just such a huge window for me to just believe in things that you can't see. And with animals, it's just, I don't know. It's like I can just be my truest self. I don't care what I look like. I don't care what I sound like. All those things that I was just so worried about with people.
you started working with Angela, and I want you to talk about that a little bit because I've been very curious about this because Angela is someone who I've also worked with, but in a completely different capacity because she lives where I live. So I've gone to her house and worked with her herd and like being taught how to have that first presence, how to look for consent. Um, because that's my experience of her, that's what she does in my mind.
Mhm.
But you guys obviously work online together because you're American. So, and I'm Canadian for anyone that doesn't know. But what does she do with you? What's the bridge between the two?
She helped me with like the business part. Again, my two line, not being able to see certain things. She's just been able to see like gaps of where hey, you could have this offering, or looking at the synchronicities of people keep asking me, will I help them with animal communication? They want to learn how to do it. Well, I teach them. And I'm just like, oh, well, I'm an MG. I'm not a teacher. And Angela kind of being like, well, actually, these are kind of like synchronicities. These are signs. If this is happening multiple times all the time, people are coming to you asking, hey, I want to learn what you're doing the way you do it. This is like signs from the universe, like kind of step into that to where it's something I would have just always written off. And I was just like, oh, I'm not going to like teach animal communication to where now I'm actually creating a container to do it. So it's like she pulls these pieces out of you to kind of like see things from a different perspective or things that you might be writing off and think, oh, that's not for me. Um, and also getting me to really get back into my response because I didn't realize how much I was also giving my authority out to other people as well, thinking like, oh, well, then I need to do that because so and so said so. It really was like getting me. She's like, okay, but yes, you're having these synchronicities, but do you have a response to this? And it was like a simple question of, it's very hard for me to sometimes check myself to make sure I'm just not doing things just to do them or thinking I had a response to it. And then I start doing it and I get frustrated. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I just forced myself to do something.
I'm curious about one thing you said in there though. You had the belief that you shouldn't be a teacher because you're an MG. What's that?
I don't know. I've just always kind of seen like projectors are kind of the guides, the
Did I do this?
teachers.
Did I teach you this? I'm nervous that you got this figured
No,
out. I
I
was like,
already had
fuck.
this before. No, but it's just kind of been something where people say all the time, like, well, if you're a projector, you're the teacher, you're the guide. If you're an MG, I don't know. I don't really know where it originally came from, but
Well,
it was
fuck,
something
let's
that was
dismantle
stuck in
this for
me.
the audience, just in case
Yeah.
anybody else is stuck on this one. When I think about teaching, I think about profile numbers, not types. Any type is
Hmm.
going to be a teacher to me. I think about numbers in terms of how you're going to teach. So the fives are the most frequent teachers because they universalize. The ones are the best teachers because they actually use the proper foundation. The threes are the most You would think the 5 is the most practical, but they're not. They're just the most universalized. The 3 is technically the most practical because it is hands on. You have to go
Mm,
through the experience and actually try it or not. It's the most tested way of learning.
mm,
4 is honestly not a great way to learn. It's the least validated. It's the most gossipy. It's the most like telephone. I'll pass it on to a friend. I'll pass it on to a friend. And the 2 is not a good teacher, typically, because they can't teach their own genius. You can teach other
hmm
things, you can't teach your own genius. So we do have the possible conundrum of, is your animal communication your own genius or not? But let's be specific about that because your genius comes from your gate 4 and your gate 49. So, gate 49, we're in tribal, there's support, there's an emotional quality, there is, in your 4, this is ajna, mental, logical. So, you've got a logical gift and you've got a supportive gift. I don't know if these are the communication ones. I don't know if that's where the communication is hiding in you. Maybe you would be a great communication teacher
We don't know.
until
I'm
you
not going to know till I try it.
till you
I
get
almost have
asked.
to, yes, and I kind of have to also third line this as well. Is this even something I'm going to enjoy? It's something I kind of have to just test out and
Dude, your
see. It's like,
desire. You're definitely going to end up teaching this.
yeah, I feel it. Like I just know there's something more that's been brewing with it.
Can I
But
make
oh
a
my God,
suggestion?
my two line for sure gets in the way because it's such an innate thing. It's so hard for me to explain how I do it, which is what Angela kind of helped me with, is like seeing the things that I can't as a two line see in myself and how to use that in a way to help others. But also, this was something she brought up in our call the other day is make sure when I'm creating something, it's not for me, right? It's for the collective of the people. Like, what is the gift that you are helping them with? And not like fixating on just what I was looking at and what I would have wanted, if that makes sense. It's kind of like I kind of had to shift a lot of things with this because I was kind of creating everything based on making sure this is the energy I have for it, the capacity for it. Um, am I not going to like get fourth line fatigue through this, which is very common with me, especially with people.
I'm curious about a couple of things.
Okay.
I'm going to make a, may I make a prediction?
Yes.
I am going to predict that you will teach, that the resistance that you can't quite name right now comes from the idea that you would create a course or a class or a group based thing that is going to apply to a lot of people that will be at a more affordable level. That is a tall order just to
Mm.
try and be affordable and approachable and useful for everybody. You will probably not actually accept one of these work requests until it is one to one and you're comfortable charging a one to one price for it. Because as a pure individual, this is entirely personal empowerment, which means you're going to have to empower the singular person. So when you're willing to accept the money that they're going to offer you, then you'll start teaching. But you don't do classes and courses, you do mentorship. You just do short term mentorship because your desire motivation, you have followers. Accurate?
Very, because I actually sat last night and I was like trying to connect to this container. Like, where is this resistance coming? There's just something there. I'm just like, why am I not like,
Because channel
I
of
don't
community is on right now, and you're getting ego support that says, don't fucking do it if it's not worth the money. It's not worth the energy. It's not worth the input. And you're still getting to the point where you're going to be comfortable charging what you're actually worth.
like, I love my one-on-ones. I really do. It doesn't bother me. I love being able to have the flexibility. I love the just breathability in it as well. My worry has been like, okay, this is something I have to show up for every week, right? To hold support for a group of people. Again, I've done this with trauma recovery and it was very hard with that. So
Yeah.
it was like, oh, well, with the animals, then maybe it will be different. But again, I like hit this, I don't know, maybe it's like an hour and a half. Usually I like hit this wall, no matter who it is I'm talking to, and it's just like my energy is just gone.
If you stay one to one, it's a conversation. If it's more than one to one, it's a class. The class requires you to be on and deliver, whereas the
Oh,
conversation has your receptivity being pulled from all the time. It's way easier for your brain. It takes like probably maybe half the mental effort.
mm, wow. I like felt my body just like deflate.
So we know the pathway. Now we just wait for the opportunity. Cool.
Mm,
Okay, hey man.
that feels
Honestly,
good.
yeah, this feels like a great place to close off.
You got Esmeralda.
Sure do. Get
This
me.
is so exciting. I'm so excited for you.
I would like to get her a donkey in the future.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Well, she
So
will be
with
a
her
pasture
queen
girl at some
energy,
point, but
it's going to be something that she'll boss around.
so that's the thing. I'm like, I am very excited to get her out to pasture when she's a clean girly again. I mean, not only is it more affordable to have them out to pasture, but it's more natural. She needs to go back into the herd, and she used to be in a herd. But I also want her to be, I selfishly want her to be extremely bonded to me before she goes back into the herd. Because
Mm.
when I walk into the herd, I want her to be like, there's my lady, you know. Um, I want her to be excited to come and hang out with me. So right now is our bonding time, and then she's gonna get better. Um,
Love that. I feel like she's going to be like, because how you explain how she was like showing the nails, I feel like she's going to be one of those out in the pasture that also doesn't like to get dirty as much. Like she's going to be very into her appearance, like, look at me, doesn't want to be seen as ashy, right? We know she doesn't like ash. I feel like it's going to be like one of those ones where she stands out and people are like, oh my God, like that horse is beautiful. She's just going to have this whole change in her energy.
I'll be honest, she kind of hit a personal note with me. I was like, girl, we've both been dusty the last few months. We've both been in the back corner of the barn. How did I not notice you? Same way I didn't even notice me. Like
Mm.
when I started to love, I don't know, see myself, love myself, whatever. I changed recently. I made a lot of big changes recently, and I haven't been very public about them, but the energy's different. Anyway, made some big changes, and I don't even know how she's so much like me. It's weird. Like it's weird. I'm hoping I'm not overly projecting onto her, but like she spooks easy, recovers so fast, like recovers insanely fast, learns really fast, really good retention. Um, loves the camera. Like a lot of animals, if you pull out the camera, they get away from it. They know they're like, fuck you, don't take my picture. Whereas I just put the camera up in the corner of her stall and I do whatever. As soon as I walk away, she's like, I can't wait to post something of like Esmeralda checking herself out. Like she knows she's a content girly. She wants to be
See?
celebrated. Like
Mm.
I bought her her own halter and lead rope yesterday. It's all red. Like she's gonna be very noticeable, very showy. She's got long, gorgeous black hair. I dyed my hair a little bit darker this morning just to match her.
Oh, I
I
love
just I have a
that.
color depositing conditioner, and I'm like, we're the same. We're both dark brown, and then we fade out kind of auburn, but I want to match you more. So, oh my god, I'm obsessed.
I love it.
I'm also terrified that the channel of community is going to turn off and all this ego definition is going to turn off and I'm going to be more tired than I realized. And I'm going to be like, I just got another kid and one that I have to take care of for 25 years, not 18.
No, I don't think so.
No, everything's going to be
No,
great.
it can already tell. I mean, you've already had that connection, you have that bond. It's never going to be like, oh, why did I do this? No, that's
Yeah.
for life.
I like, I don't want to brush my dogs, but I can't wait to drive 2 hours to brush my horse who's not even that into it yet. Like,
She will.
yeah,
She
she does.
will. She's going to. I have a feeling
Um,
she's going to be demanding, like, brush me now,
I'm going to
please.
paint her hooves today with oil. They're dry and they're cracky, and that's just what horse hooves look like. But you can lube them or oil them or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Condition them.
I looked at horse hoof products in the store the other day. It was $70. And I don't even know
Oh
what
my
was in
gosh.
that container. And I was like, dear God, no, and then I was like, okay, so I'm gonna melt down this oil, this oil, and this oil. And I'm gonna just, paint it on with a big paintbrush or whatever. And then I was like, wait, can you put tallow on a horse? Is that fucked up?
I think so. I know a lot of people use coconut oil for hooves.
But like, okay, okay, oh please, I love this. This is stand-up comedy at the end of the episode. Okay, so I said to Maven, I was like, your horse is a vegetarian. And then I was like, wait a second, vegan? I was like, are horses vegetarians or vegans? And I got so stuck on that for a second. And then I heard a little voice be like, herbivore? And I was like, oh my God, they're herbivores. Wait, what's the difference between a herbivore, a vegan, and a vegetarian?
Oh my gosh.
Undefined mind questions is all that is happening right now. It doesn't matter, but I'm so curious. It all happened because I ate a tuna fish sandwich out in the pasture and they were all smelling me and were like, do they want it? I hope they don't want it. Is this dark? This is morbid, right? Are horses into fish? They're not into fish, as it turns out. They didn't even try. But like, they know. How do they know? And what does tallow fit into for a category? Are they like, this is dead cow? Or are they like, this is skincare?
I don't know. My parrots like chicken, and I always think that's kind of odd. Chickens will eat chicken.
But are they herbivores or omnivores?
Oh, I don't know.
I think they're omnivores. I don't. You guys, I swear to God, we're smart in what we do for a living, but this stuff is evading us.
They're also like, I don't care if I am either. I just know I like chicken.
Either way, wonderful, amazing chat. If you guys want to find Jen, she's at Her Healing Way on Instagram. Go there, talk to her, look at all the awesome content, especially the donkeys.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Enjoy the animals.
Enjoy the animals on all fronts and accounts. And mine, my backup account is at All Good Grains. You'll find Esmeralda there. All right, guys, thanks for listening.